Hello everyone and welcome to a new analysis of my games, of my tournament games. I'm playing a lot of tournaments, recently, and this is very cool to analyze my games in order to help you improve the game, in order to help myself improve in the game, of course. And I hope this will help you getting better. And yeah, I'm playing today versus Cat, so I've put the logo also on the video, so don't hesitate to go and watch Killer Pigeon, of course, because we are in the Killer Pigeon Midweek Muster. Sorry. So yeah, this is a very good tournament, very cool weekly tournament. So every week we have different maps, we have different players. So this is pretty nice. Don't hesitate to go and watch Killer Pigeon if you don't already know him. So yeah, everything will be in the description, of course. And yeah, I'm playing versus Cat. I lost my first game. This is BO3. Don't hesitate to go and watch my analysis of my first game. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident on this game when I started it because I have a very good matchup for me. HRE is a very good civilization at the moment. I feel like this is one of the best one, maybe the first one in my opinion. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about that, but I have to be careful because Delhi is a very good civilization, especially on those age ups, because this is a civilization where you have all your technologies for free, and while you're making the Dome of the Faith, you have a lot of scholars, and those scholars help you having those technologies faster. So you have all technologies for free and also very fast, thanks to these scholars that you can have on the Dome of the Faith. So I have to be careful on those age up. I have to put pressure the most as I can on my opponent. This is really my goal in this game because I'm kind of afraid of those elephants and all of those technologies that he has for free. So this is the main goal I have here. I have to fight H2. I have to go H3 the fast as I can, also to take all those relics faster than him. And yeah, because HR is very good with relics, of course. And yeah, I don't want this game to go too long. Also because I know my opponent is stronger than me, so I kind of want also to have games that are shorter. I don't know if this is the best idea, but I'm the type of person that wants to have quick games because I'm kind of strong at the beginning of the game, but as long as the game goes, I'm getting not as strong as my opponent. I'm not a very good player on the late game. So yeah, this is the main stuff that I had in my head. I find it very interesting to help you figure out how I think about my games, and yeah, about the matchup also. So yeah, I'm making the chapel, of course, because this is a very good landmark. You have 40% on everything that is around your chapel, so I have a good chapel. Of course, I have all my sheeps. This is very important to place them here under the chapel. I have a lot of wood. I also have the berries, so this is a very good position for my chapel. I see a lot of players putting this chapel near the goal. This is okay, but I feel like this is better to have the wood and the wood. This is better to have wood. Why? Because, well, your gold, you're not gonna take a lot of gold. Even if you're going fast H3, you don't want to have that much gold. Why? Because when you are H3, you want to have all your relics, and if you have your relics, then you don't want to mine gold anymore. So the chapel, I think it's very important to have it on your berries and on your wood, especially on the wood, because you can do a lot of stuff with the wood. You can also do your farms, etc. This is my point on this, and maybe a lot of different players, different pro players, will have a different opinion about it. But I find it very interesting to talk about this to you. So yeah, I made the pro scout, of course, because this is a very strong meta at the moment. And yeah, I did stable. I also did a little horseman in order to put pressure on my opponent. I know that he will make a lot of Ghazi raiders. I scouted it, and yeah, this is most of the time what you do as Delhi. But if he's doing I don't know, archers or whatever, Then I will sow it, and I will do not do this barrack, or I will do this barrack, but I will do man-at-arms instead of spearmen, and I will do, of course, some horsemen. Here, I know exactly what he's making, so I do my spearmen, I protect my gold. This is pretty important to have gold right now, because I want to have these technologies, of course, in order to have a better economy, but also having a better army at some point when I will... have a blacksmith, of course. So I will take all the deers that I can, especially on the middle of the map if I have the control of the map, which is not the case right now, so I have to be very careful about this. And here he will take my scout, so this is not cool for me, of course. I will lose a lot of sheep, so I have to be very careful about this and do not go too far versus a Delhi, because the Delhi have a lot of light cavalry, and as I said before, a lot of light cavalry means, well, he's moving faster than me, and if he's moving faster than me, well, of course, he will kill my scouts. Okay, so I don't have a lot of scouts, as you can see. I only have 3. This is enough, I think. I don't have to do that much scouts, because if I do more, I will be behind with my army. And if I'm behind with my army, I cannot take those deers. So this is very important for you to understand that. I see a lot of players making a lot of scouts. This is very good in certain situations, but not every time. You have to be careful about what your opponent is doing. If your opponent is also doing a pro scout, he's making a lot of scouts, you have also to make a lot of scouts. But if your opponent is not on pro scout, he will have a lot of army, and if you are not making an army to counter that, then you will not have the control of the map, and you will not take the deers. So here I know Delhi is a civilization where you do not have your pro scout very fast, so he will do a lot of army in order to counter my pro scout, and then after he will do his scouts in order to have the deers. So I'm very careful about this, and I'm not making a lot of scouts for this reason, and this is very important for you to understand that. So yeah, I will do a lot of army, I will do a lot of spearmen, and when I see that he's making some archers, I will do some men-at-arms, I will do also some horsemen. And why I'm making this army composition? Because this is very strong versus Delhi when you have some men-at-arms, because those men-at-arms are very strong, of course, to tank those archers, etc. And the composition of spearmen plus men-at-arms is very strong, because those Ghazi raiders cannot kill your men-at-arms because of those spearmen that are inside. And this is pretty difficult for the archers to attack your spearmen, because if you have men-at-arms plus spearmen, this is pretty difficult to click on your spearmen, because you have a lot of how you say, a lot of men-at-arms in your army. So yeah. And why I can do this army now? This is pretty important for you to understand, because if you don't have the deers, if you don't have the control of the map, if you don't have enough food, you cannot do this. Why? Because spearmen cost a lot of food, men-at-arms cost a lot of food, and also those horsemen cost a lot of food. So if you don't have the control of the deers, if you don't have the pro scout, if you don't have the control of a lot of sheep or the berries, etc., you cannot do this. So this is very important to understand, that you have to have the deers in order to do this composition of army. So this is why I'm making all of this, and this is why I'm not making a lot of scouts, because I want to have the control, etc. So this is important to understand. I'm doing the blacksmith because I saw those archers, and I really want to have this, because, well, the archers, when they are a lot, they can do a lot of damage, and if I have my +1 armor ranged, this is very strong, of course, in order for those spearmen to die not fast, and to protect also all my units in general. So yeah, here I protect those secret sites. I avoid my opponent to have them. This is kind of interesting because, well, if he has those secret sites, he's making 125 gold per minute. So this one, I cannot contest it, really. I'm trying to put a horseman here in order to counter that. I think I used wrongly my my control my control groups, and yeah, he will not go to counter these sacred sites. But yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes you do some mistakes. So yeah, this is kind of annoying when I'm doing this, because I'm using my control groups, and I think that this one was in my control, and when I moved it here, he was he was inside, so he didn't counter the sacred sites. So yeah, I have to be more careful about this. I'm taking a lot of deers, as you can see, and I also have a lot of sheep, so this is pretty interesting. Also, what is interesting is to have this technology while you're not on the deer, and when you are on the deer, you want to do this, and I didn't make my survival techniques, so this is pretty bad, I have to say. And yeah, I'm making a lot of units. I feel like I should have done more archers. Like, I'm not doing any archers, and this is not that good to do this. Yeah, I mean, if I'm doing the chapel, I must do some archers at some point. I feel like 2 barracks and 2 stables is okay. Then I have to do 2 or 3 archery range, and then I do a lot of archers with my composition of army. But if I'm doing the main work, then it's kind of okay to do this. Only horsemen and spearmen, because you have the +2 damage with the mine work. So this is kind of interesting. So here the fight will be very important. You have to understand something here. It's that I have the counter of all his units. So I have those man-at-arms that can tank his archers, as I said before. I don't have a lot, but I have some of them, and they are taking very, very well those archers, because they have 4 range armor. So this is very strong. He doesn't have his steeled arrows, so this is a very big mistake from him. He has this, but he doesn't have his steeled arrows, and I think that this is what cost him this fight. And I have the protection here, so he's making 5 damage, but I have on those man-at-arms, I have 4, so he's making 5 minus 4, 1 damage per arrow. This is not a lot, of course. And he could have done like 2 damage instead, and this would have changed everything, because he's doubling his damage. So this is very interesting to notice, and also my horsemen can tank pretty well because they have 3, so the archers are only dealing 2 damage per arrow. And here what I will do is using my horsemen in order to go inside those archers and to take a very, very good fight. So here is he's overcommitting. He's saying, oh yeah, I have more than my opponent. He's right, but he's not taking into account that I have some technologies that are very strong, and he doesn't have this one. So this is a very big mistake from him. And also he doesn't taking into account that I have some man-at-arms. And yeah, I'm using all my horsemen here in order to block his archers. I'm not taking into account his horsemen, and I will try to do the most damage as I can into those archers with my horsemen, and to block them from going anywhere. And as my horsemen have a lot of damage versus those archers, I have a pretty good composition of army, and my spearmen will destroy all his horsemen at the same time. So this is what you want to do, and as you can see, some archers were firing against those man-at-arms, and this tank very well. So I feel like I did a pretty good job on this fight, and my opponent made a lot of mistakes on this one, especially with this technology. He didn't have this technology, and this was very, very bad from him. So yeah, very, very nice. You can see, of course, if your opponent has those technologies by clicking on the units of your opponent. You can see he has +1 ranged armor. He didn't need it because I didn't do any archers, so this is a mistake from him, and also he didn't have this one. So yeah, now that I had a pretty good fight, I can take all the deers of the map, and I can also retake those sacred sites. And what I want to say about stuff like this is, when you have a pretty good fight like this one, you want to put pressure to your opponent, to still put pressure on your opponent with the army that you have, but also you kind of want to go h3 at the same time. You don't want to overcommit, as he have done just before, but you don't want also to do not put pressure on your opponent. You want to put pressure on your opponent. Why? Because you want to force him to still continue to produce army. And if he's producing army, he's not going h3. And you at some point stop making some army, and then you go h3, and you forced him by making a lot of army. And if he has a lot of army, he's not going h3, and you are h3. So yeah, I also decapped all those secret sites in order for him to do not have this passive gold that is very interesting, of course, for him, because yeah, he kind of want that to go h3. He kind of want that to also to trade those resources, to have more food, etc. So here I know I have more army than him, so I'm trying to save those resources in order to go h3, and I have a pretty good fight here. I see that, so I'm going in. I will do the same stuff as before. I will use my horsemen in order to kill his archers, and I'm doing a pretty good job about that. He's sniping my spearmen, but I have so many men-at-arms, and yeah, now my horsemen are very strong versus those archers because of the damage that it can do, and he doesn't have enough army. I really surrounded him, and this is what you want to do with that kind of army. The big problem about the army of that are in how do you say that? That is not firing arrows. Do you know that that is on melee? Well, is that you don't have a big surface where you can hit your opponent, and if you're only doing an attack move, then your units will not very attack. Not all your units will attack, and if you're putting all your units inside your enemy, then all your units will attack. So this is what I wanted to do here by taking all those horsemen and yeah, going inside his units in order to make the most damage as I could, and to yeah, to damage to his archers. So here, this is a pretty important move. I want to go h3 because I took two very good fights, so I'm willing to go h3. I still put pressure, of course, as I said before. I put this army here, so he has to produce in order to counter this. If he's not producing, I will go in and I will destroy him. And yeah, this is very important for you to understand that. And at the same time, I'm going h3, but I'm not going in by going h3. If I'm going h3, I'm waiting for my technologies in order to go in after that. And what I'm doing with my horsemen at the same time, this is very important for you to understand that, is that I try to see where he is taking his food. Because now that I have the control of the map, now that this is 16 minutes of games, now I have to take the control of the map in order to deny him the food, because I know I had so much deers. He will not be on the deers, he will be on the berries, and the berries I know exactly where they are because I scouted the map, of course. And so I'm going here, I'm going here. I saw that he's not there, so I saw that he's here, and I will do damage here. This is very important. He saw me here, so he will move his villagers. Very good move from him, but I'm doing so much idle time, and during this time he will not take any food. And this is important because you can see exactly his resources. And by doing this, a lot of his villagers are not gathering food. This is two stuff that is very important. The first one is that he will not go h3 because of this. And if he is, because he still have some villagers here, for example, that are gathering some deers, well, he will not have enough food to take his army to do more units, etc. So this is very important. You have to deny your opponent's berries, your opponent's resources. This is very important. Even if I don't kill villagers, this is very important to take the control here. So yeah, I will do the same stuff with my horseman here, and he will try to do some damage here on my gold. So I have to make some units in order to counter his attack, and I have the outpost, of course, in order to see everything that is going on. I will take the control here, of course, and yeah, this is this is something that I did. I know I have the rally point of my town center that is in the middle of the map because I wanted to do a prelate that can take all the relics, of course. This is what kind you want to do. If you have the control of the map, you want to, while you're going h3, make a prelude, and this prelude on your town center, and this prelude can take immediately the relic that is on the map. So this is very interesting, but you have to be careful about the rally point because, well, otherwise you will have villagers here. So I saw that he went H3 at the same times. I have those man-at-arms, I have those veteran horsemen, and now I know that I can go in because I have my units that are veteran. And so this is what I talked about before. You want to have those technologies before to attack your opponent. And now I have my technologies, I will destroy his army because, well, he doesn't have enough. So this is very important. I'm taking a very good fight right now. I'm idling 25 villagers. This is a lot. He has half his villagers that are not working, and I'm HRE, don't forget about that. I have a ton of villagers that are working and that are boosted from 40%. Well, they are not right now because I'm taking those relics, but yeah. And yeah, this is the stuff that I really want to be careful about. Those elephants can make a lot of damage to me, of course. But here, I feel like I did a very good job by idling those villagers, killing all his army. And yeah, maybe I could have done more damage by going here at the same time and here with some units. And yeah, I will do the same stuff as before. Now I know I cannot go in anymore because there is a war elephant. There is also a lot of towers, of outposts, and also town centers that is firing at me. So I will lose too many units if I stay, but I will still have the pressure on the map. I will still use some units in order to counter my opponent's resources. This is very important to understand that. I didn't kill that much villagers to my opponent, but I have the control. I deny him all his resources, and also I have all the relics, etc. I'm taking all those sacred sites right now, and I will put a lot of pressure to him. I have a lot of army compared to him. So yeah, he will lack so many food right now because he cannot take any food on the map. I have all the control. So the game is kind of over right now because he cannot retake the control because I have too many resources and he has not. So here I'm going in, using all my units in order to put so much pressure to kill the most units as I can. All his villagers I idled because, well, I killed them and I try to deny his resources. And yeah, the game is kind of over right now for Cat. This was a pretty good game. He stayed a lot during this game because I think he couldn't believe I could beat him. But yeah, this was a pretty good game from me. I'm very happy about that. He tried to kill a lot of villagers to me, of course, at the same time. And you can see that sometimes when you don't kill villagers, it's still okay, because if you have the control of the map and you avoid your opponent by having all those resources, then he cannot produce any food. And if he doesn't have food, then he cannot produce any unit. And he has to do a transition into farms, and this is pretty difficult for him as the Delhi Sultanate, but with the HRE it's pretty okay. So yeah, this is kind of over for this game. Hope you enjoyed it. If this is the case, don't hesitate to tell me in the comments. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about this game, of course, because Cat is a very good player. And yeah, in theory, I'm not as good as him. And this is not only in theory, of course. He is better than me. But I managed to take a game from him, and I'm very glad I did. So yeah, pretty good analysis. I hope it helped you. Don't hesitate to tell me in the comments, and see you in the next one. Bye. And of course, don't hesitate to go and watch Killer Pigeon. That is making this amazing tournament that allowed me to play versus Cat.